changing season one afternoon, Rondu stood by the window, his eyes thoughtfully looking out. Yellow leaves fell softly on the yard, each leaf seeming to carry a message of autumn. Fall was coming, bringing with it a chilly breeze and warm colors. Rondu took a deep breath, feeling the gentle scent of earth and sky, of rotting leaves blending in the space. The transformation of the season stirred something deep within him. He felt a sense of nostalgia, an inexplicable connection to the world outside. It was as if the autumn air carried whispers of old memories, elusive yet familiar. The sudden rain. Suddenly, the sky turned gray, and a sudden rain poured down. This rain was not too big, but not small either. Raindrops crackled on the eaves, falling onto dry leaves, creating a gentle and melodious natural music. The sound of falling rain whispered stories of autumn, as if telling old memories and past romantic moments. Rondu put his hand out the window, letting the cold raindrops fall into his palm. He closed his eyes, feeling each drop of rain gently brushing against his skin, each wind carrying the scent of autumn on his face. In that moment, he felt so peaceful, as if all his worries had disappeared with the raindrops. A moment of connection. Flora gently approached Rondu. She looked at him, her eyes shining in the sunset. "What are you thinking?" she asked, her voice warm and gentle. Rondu turned to look at Flora, his eyes seeming to be immersed in her beauty. "I'm just feeling the fall," he replied, his voice deep. "This rain makes me remember old memories, beautiful moments, but the image is very blurry. I don't know what it is. The images make me feel warm." Flora smiled, grabbed Rondu's hand and pulled him out. "Do you want to bathe in the rain?" she said, her eyes sparkling with joy. "This rain will make everything more beautiful." Embracing the rain, the two of them walked out together, letting the raindrops fall gently on their hair and shoulders. They walked slowly, feeling every drop of rain on their skin, every cold wind of autumn. Under the rain, everything seemed to become more sparkling and romantic. Yellow leaves fell with the wind, forming a golden carpet on the ground like a beautiful autumn painting. Rondu and Flora walked in the rain, holding hands, their hearts filled with happiness and peace. The autumn rain brought a special romance, making everything more beautiful and memorable. In that moment, Rondu felt his love for Flora grow deeper, like raindrops penetrating the soil, nourishing and refreshing everything. A deeper love, Rondu and Flora walked in the rain, each drop of cold rain seeping into their skin, but their hearts were filled with warmth. They stopped under an old tree, where yellow leaves scattered around. The rain still fell gently, creating a mist that covered everything. Rondu turned to Flora, looking deeply into her eyes. His eyes were full of affection and sincerity. He held her hand tightly, feeling the softness and warmth of that small hand. In that moment, he realized how deep his love for Flora was. "I love you," Rondu said, his voice deep and sincere. Just 3 simple words, but carrying so much emotion and meaning. Those words sounded like sweet music in Flora's heart, making her unable to hold back her tears. An eternal moment. Flora looked at Rondu, her eyes shining with sparkling tears. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but they were not tears of sadness, but tears of happiness. She felt Rondu's strong love for her, and her heart was filled with joy and emotion. "Recovering your memory is no longer important to me," Flora said, her voice gentle but full of emotion. "I just want to prolong this time forever." Rondu hugged Flora in his arms, feeling the warmth spreading from her body, dispelling the coldness of the rain. He whispered into her ear, his voice as gentle as the sound of falling rain. "I will always be with you, Flora. We will overcome all difficulties together, regardless of whether I remember or not. My love for you will never change." The promise of love. The rain still fell, but their hearts no longer felt cold. Under the autumn rain, Rondu and Flora exchanged warm hugs and sweet kisses. They knew that their love would be the fire that warmed their hearts on cold, rainy days. And in that moment, all worries and sorrows disappeared, leaving only full love and complete happiness. Flora's secret. Flora approached Rondu with a smile that radiated warmth and mystery. Her eyes sparkled with an excitement that Rondu found both infectious and captivating. "Today I will tell you a secret," she said softly, her voice like a melody. Rondu's curiosity piqued, and he returned her smile, feeling a mix of excitement and anticipation. "What's the secret?" he asked, eager to uncover the mystery she promised. Flora's smile widened, taking on a more enigmatic quality. "You'll know soon enough," she replied, her words adding an air of magic and attraction. The anticipation grew, and Rondu felt an irresistible pull to discover the secret Flora was about to reveal. The revelation. They were standing in a quiet, secluded garden, the afternoon sun casting dappled shadows through the leaves. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the sound of birds chirping. Flora took a step back and regarded Rondu with a twinkle in her eye. "Actually, I'm a magician," Flora announced, her voice carrying a note of pride and excitement. Rondu's eyes widened in surprise. "A magician?" he echoed, a mix of disbelief and wonder coloring his tone. Flora nodded, her smile never wavering. "Yes, and today, I decided to perform some magic tricks just for you." Rondu's excitement grew. He had always been fascinated by the mystical and the unknown, and the thought of witnessing magic up close was thrilling. He watched intently as Flora prepared for her first trick. The flower vase. Flora stood before Rondu with an exquisite flower vase, its delicate design catching the sunlight. She gently waved her hand over the vase, and in the blink of an eye, it vanished without a trace. Rondu's jaw dropped in amazement. He had seen magic tricks before, but never so seamlessly executed. "How did you do that?" Rondu asked, his voice filled with awe. Flora chuckled softly, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "A magician never reveals her secrets," she teased, enjoying the look of wonder on Rondu's face. The transformation next, Flora stood before Rondu in a simple dress, its plain fabric contrasting with the vibrant surroundings. She waved her hands gracefully, and in an instant, her attire transformed into a gorgeous, shimmering gown. The transformation was so quick and flawless that Rondu could scarcely believe his eyes. "That's incredible," he exclaimed, thoroughly impressed by her agility and dexterity. Flora curtsied playfully, her smile widening at Rondu's reaction. "Thank you, Rondu. But there's more," she said, her tone promising further enchantment. The disappearing act. Before Rondu could fully process the transformation, Flora disappeared from her spot. He blinked, and she was gone. Confused, he turned around and saw Flora standing in another corner of the room, her expression one of pure delight. This sudden appearance left Rondu even more impressed by Flora's special abilities. "How do you do that?" he asked, his voice a mix of bewilderment and admiration. Flora merely smiled, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "Magic," she replied simply, enjoying the magical and unforgettable moments she was creating for Rondu. A magical bond. As Flora continued to perform her tricks, Rondu's admiration for her grew. Each illusion was more impressive than the last, and he found himself completely captivated by her skills. But it wasn't just the magic that held his attention, it was the way Flora conducted herself, the confidence and joy she exuded with each trick. After a particularly astonishing trick involving a floating rose, Rondu couldn't help but voice his thoughts. "You're amazing, Flora. I've never seen anything like this." Flora blushed slightly, her smile softening. "Thank you, Rondu. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Magic has always been a part of me, but it's even more special when shared with someone who appreciates it." Rondu felt a warm glow in his chest at her words. He realized that Flora's magic wasn't just about the tricks, it was about the connection they created, the shared wonder and joy. It was a bond that went beyond the physical, touching something deeper and more profound. The magic of connection. The sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the garden. Flora and Rondu sat on a bench, their laughter and conversation filling the air. "How did you become a magician?" Rondu asked, genuinely curious about Flora's journey. Flora's eyes took on a distant look as she recalled her past. "I've always been fascinated by magic," she began. "As a child, I would watch magicians perform and dream of creating my own illusions. I practiced tirelessly, learning the art of misdirection and sleight of hand. Over time, I developed my own style and tricks." Rondu listened intently, his admiration for Flora growing with each word. "That's incredible, Flora. It must have taken a lot of dedication and hard work." Flora nodded, her smile tinged with pride and nostalgia. "It did, but it was worth it. Magic has given me so much joy, and I love sharing that joy with others." The final trick. As the evening drew to a close, Flora stood up, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "I have one final trick for you, Rondu." Rondu's curiosity was piqued once more. "What is it?" Flora's smile turned mysterious again. "Close your eyes," she instructed. Rondu obeyed, closing his eyes and waiting in anticipation. He felt Flora's gentle touch on his hand, guiding him to stand. There was a moment of silence, then Flora's voice, soft and melodic, whispered, "Open your eyes." Rondu opened his eyes and gasped. Before him was a stunning display of lights, twinkling like stars in the night sky. The garden had been transformed into a magical wonderland, with floating lanterns and shimmering fairy lights. It was a sight that took his breath away. "Flora, this is incredible," he said, his voice filled with wonder. Flora stepped beside him, her smile radiant. "Magic is about creating moments of wonder and joy," she said softly, "and I wanted to create this moment for you." Rondu turned to Flora, his heart full of gratitude and admiration. "Thank you, Flora. This is the most magical experience I've ever had." A glimpse from the window. Rondu stood by the window, gazing out at the world beyond. The day was bright, the sun casting a warm glow over everything. As he absent-mindedly observed the passers-by, his eyes caught sight of a woman walking past the house, holding the hand of a small child. There was something in the way they moved together, something in their gentle interaction that tugged at the edges of Rondu's mind. He squinted slightly, trying to focus on the memory that the sight evoked. In his mind's eye, he saw a gentle, beautiful woman holding a handsome boy. Her face was radiant, full of love, and the baby in her arms smiled widely, his eyes sparkling with joy. The image was fleeting, yet it left a profound impression on Rondu. The stirring of memories. Flora, who had been standing nearby, noticed the change in Rondu's expression. She could see the distant look in his eyes, the way his brow furrowed as he tried to grasp the elusive memory. "What's wrong with you?" she asked softly, her voice filled with concern. Rondu turned to her, his eyes still clouded with the remnants of the memory. "It seems like my memories are coming back," he said slowly, as if trying to convince himself of the truth of his words. "I see an image of someone." Flora smiled gently, her eyes reflecting the warmth and encouragement she felt. "So you're making progress. Your memories are slowly returning to you." Rondu looked at Flora in surprise, her gentle smile providing him with a sense of reassurance. Although the memories were still vague, the fleeting images gave him hope that his past would eventually be restored to him, piece by piece.